Hello. Sorry, I've got a croaky voice. I've been singing. I was working last night. Right, I'm using my Eliana hand for this tutorial. Now, today I'm going to show you 3 glitter ombre methods using acrylic. They are the easiest way to achieve a super beautiful acrylic glitter ombre. I've applied tips to my hand. I'm going to be using the Nailmate system from Glitter Planet. You can save 10% on your order with code SarahB. So I would definitely recommend using that. This is my brush. It's the Aqua brush. I use a size 10. This is also from Glitter Planet and it's very beautiful. So feel free to use the code and save yourself some money. Now, the first thing we're going to do, exactly as we would on a client, is lay down a thin clear base. And there's 2 reasons for that. The first one is that if you're working on a client, you've got something to file back if you want to redesign next time. And also, it gives that base layer of strength and evens out the surface of the nail where the tip has been applied. Don't forget to like this video, by the way. That little thing just popped up. Please give it a like. And if you've got 2 minutes to leave a brief comment, I would really appreciate that. It helps me so much. Perfect Pink is the nude shade that we're using today. And for this first nail, we're going to be using Rockstar Raw Glitter. Raw Glitter, I'll show you how to use it. It's a stunning colour. This is from Glitter Planet. Absolutely stunning. Now, if you notice, I place my acrylic powder behind my glitter because the last thing you want is to be carrying the glitter on your brush over the top of the powders and then it drops in and contaminates the powder. Top tip. I'm going to apply my ombre base. And just feather that down. Sorry, I'm just having to send a message to my son while I'm doing this bloody voiceover. So I'm feathering it down with my brush. I'm going to use the tip of my brush and just tuck it in along the side walls just to even that out a little bit. And then we're going to go in with the second bead. I'm going to see that polymerizing. It goes nice and smooth on the brush. We love that. Gently place that down. Use the tip of my brush to tuck it at the cuticle. Very gentle movements here. And then more kind of smooshing it in. Smoosh is a technical word. I'm using the underneath top third of my brush. So the bristles become slightly denser, but not too dense because you don't want to completely squash the product. Then I'm going to tidy up those little side walls there and the nail folds there. We don't want to flood it. Doesn't matter if it happens, just clean it up. It's all good. We're trying to get it as deep and as tight in there as possible. Okay, a little bead here just to fill that gap. Not really for structure, more for aesthetics, slightly blending back. Doesn't matter how many beads you do this in, can I just say that? Please don't be pressured to do it in so many beads. Doesn't make you any better or any worse. It's the end result that counts. We've got a beautiful kind of feathered look here with this acrylic. I'm just going to add slightly more because this is a very long nail. So I'm going to blend that back. So we've got a nice smooth transition, no issues. And then we're going to feather it down towards the tip of the nail and let it softly diffuse down. That's what we want, that kind of soft, diffused look. You see? These powders do blend really easily. So it makes life just so much better if you've just got a good quality product you can work with. So we've got this. I've given it 30 seconds or so just to mattify, which means that that product's not going to move if I touch it. I'm picking up a small bead of clear. I'm gently dipping it into my glitter. The raw glitter will sit on top. Now, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can roll it off the brush like this. The glitter sits on top and then you're going to pat the glitter into the acrylic. And then you can kind of just drag it, paint it, whatever. It was a very hot day when I recorded this, so the acrylic did start to set up quite quickly. If it's cooler, you'll have a little bit more playtime. But just use, you see I'm now using the back third of the brush near the ferrule, where it's pinched. that is the most densest part of the brush. It has the most power. So if you need to squash something and it's starting to set, you use that section of the brush. You've got more control and more power in that section of the brush. So the first bead is down. I'm now going to tap in with a little bit of clear acrylic and show you the other way. I've just done a wet bead of clear acrylic, tapped into the glitter and just painted it on. So I've worked with a smaller bead. It's wetter and it is more flowy. And then I'm starting to use the very tip of my, underneath though, not the top tip, the underneath of the top section of the brush where the bristles are at their thinnest, to kind of feather and paint with the acrylic and start positioning the glitter where I want it. Then I've dipped my brush straight into the raw glitter and I'm tapping it into that acrylic while it's still damp and sticky, because that way you don't have to add layer upon layer upon layer of acrylic. You can actually utilize the fact that the acrylic's still setting and just tap the raw glitter directly into the surface. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? A nice little ombre happening there. I'm going to tap a little bit more because I saw a spot there that I wasn't too keen on. So I picked up a tiny, tiny bead of clear acrylic and just tapped it into the glitter again. And it makes it nice and easy to add bits. Okay, so here we are with our raw glitter acrylic. Now once that's set, give it like a minute. I'm going to cap it. Now the rule is with glitter, if it ain't matte, it ain't capped, which means if your glitter hasn't mattified and changed from sparkly to dull, then you've not encapsulated it properly. This clear acrylic will completely cover the glitter and protect it. It's really important that it is properly encapsulated. Can you see the change there where it's gone to that kind of matte purpley pink colour? Now, in the past, and I think we're all guilty of this, like when I was learning, my nails would be too thick. Then I'd add glitter and make it even thicker. So when it came to encapsulating, I would then go too thin on the clear acrylic. And then when I would come to filing, I would file through the clear acrylic, file the glitter, and it would become just like patchy and not very nice. The other thing is if you overfile the nail, so if you keep building the nail up, keep building it up, there's too much of your base colour, there's too much of your glitter, there's too much of your clear, so then you have to file it all back. That will create a lot of work, and also you will end up filing away some of the glitter. So the idea is to keep your glitter layer nice and thin, and then encapsulate, build your strength and your structure with your clear acrylic. Then you know the glitter is safely tucked away in bed, all tucked away. We're trying to keep the shape as much as possible so that there's a least amount of filing as possible, because nobody likes filing, and it will over time cause issues. It will over time cause issues potentially with your wrists and your hands, your shoulders, your neck. My audio keeps cutting out of this recording, so I will go back and try and edit as best I can to make the transition smooth. But if it sometimes sounds disjointed, it's because my MacBook is just suddenly disconnecting, which is really strange. It's never happened before. So I'm literally checking through the nail and just making sure that the structure is sound, that all the acrylic, the glitter underneath the acrylic is properly encapsulated. There we are. And now I'm going to do my cuticle bead because we're building up an apex. Even though this is on a mannequin hand, I want this to be as relaxing, as realistic as possible. And relaxing, darling. So my phone keeps vibrating as well. This is a very distracting day. I'm aware that I need to leave the house very soon and I'm still in my pyjamas. Oh dear, what's going on? Okay, so we're almost done here with this. I'm just tapping and using the whole of my brush to kind of shape the size of the nail, making sure that acrylic doesn't misshape at all. On to the next nail. We're using the same base powder, the same perfect pink as my core powder for the ombre. You see it polymerize on the brush there. We're going to apply that and feather it down the nail. I thought we'll keep the core powder the same because I want you to see how we work differently with different products. So this nail, we're going to be using a pre-mixed glitter acrylic. And I'll talk to you quickly about like the disadvantages and advantages. and how to best use it. Again, I'm using the same feathering technique. It's very easy with this acrylic though, it does blend quite nicely. And I'm just filling in those sides, any bits that I see that haven't got the coverage that I want, I will add it, which is what you can do. You giveth, you can't taketh away though, so you're better to go in with a bit less and add a bit more than to go in with too much and panic. Again, just a little bit of feathering at the sides there. Okay, look at that, how it's sort of really easily just melted and blended. I'm just going to make sure it's got the coverage I want. I'm being very particular. I want to sort out the cuticle area. It's a little bit uneven. Yes, it's a mannequin hand. I could take it off camera and I could just adjust the positioning of the tip and you would not know that there was a slight issue with the cuticle placement. But we're being realistic here. This channel isn't about faking it. Being realistic, I always include mistakes that I make and show you how to avoid them. This is the pre-mixed glitter acrylic. It's called My Girl. Same system. So the bonus to this is the ratio is correct. The glitter to powder ratio is already done for you. You don't need to worry that you are going to potentially get it wrong. The disadvantages to working with a premixed acrylic powder is if you want to tap your wet brush into the powder and just like pick up some glitter and add a little bit more glitter, obviously you can't do that. You would end up getting your brush all stuck together. So I'm starting at the tip of the nail and I'm blending back up towards the cuticle with this method, because where it's pre-mixed, I find that sometimes you need to lose slightly more product or be more mindful about where you position it. This glitter acrylic, this pre-mixed, is absolutely stunning. So it's got glitter flowers, glitter butterflies, it's got pinks and golds and sort of pinky purples. The colour palette is just so beautiful. The gold, just the shade of gold that they've used is, oh, it just pulls it all together and I absolutely love it. It's a good way with this to have multiple types of glitter without having to do layer upon layer of product because your nail would be fat. So if you think about it, if you added your base colour of gold and then 3 different pinks and then butterflies and then flowers, I mean, my God, it would just be a nightmare. So having it all mixed makes life a lot easier. And it's, yeah, the advantages speak for themselves. I mean, yes, there are disadvantages with anything. So it's about what you prefer, whether you prefer using raw glitter and just adding it yourself, or whether you prefer having a pre-mixed system that you know all the ratios are there. Again, we're going to cap with clear, same as before. If it ain't matte, it ain't capped. We know the drill, guys. Put it on a jumper, because it's winter. I was going to say t-shirt, but no. Put it on a jumper. And I'm just going to keep those edges, again, nice and straight, as least amount of filing as possible, because filing sucks. Nice big bead at the cuticle there. Tip of my brush will tuck it, tip to tuck, middle to move. So the middle of my brush is what's responsible for making sure the product is flowing in the correct direction and feathering it down the nail. The tip of the brush is responsible for making sure that your cuticle area, your sidewalls, they're all nice and neat. There we are, keeping those sides neat again. It may not look like it needs doing, but the slightest little bump here and there starts to build up really quickly. So it's best just to get in there. Feathering back, lovely work, nice and smooth. And I'm going to be checking from all angles, because sometimes you'll get like a dip in the middle of the nail where you've maybe applied the product slightly differently. This third nail, the final nail, we're going to be doing coloured acrylic, Pandora, and then Persian Prince glitter from the Glitter Fairy. Again, same base. Going in with Perfect Pink. Going to do exactly the same as before. Tip of the brush to tuck at the cuticle. Middle of the brush to move that product down the nail. And then we're going to be looking at applying coloured acrylic first. And what this does is, if you want a kind of deeper look and you don't want it just glitter. So you have that colour in the background, and then you kind of sprinkle that glitter on top. You don't literally sprinkle it, but what it does is give depth without just glitter. And also for certain types of glitter, like Persian Prince is very fine, almost like a mylar glitter instead of a chunky. It shows it off even more. And this particular acrylic powder is from the new collection. It's glittery by day, so it's like sparkly like ice, but it glows in the dark, and it's absolutely beautiful. So that's kind of another cool feature. It's like multi-dimensional. Just tidying up. There we go. Keep that side under wraps because it's escaping a little bit. Neaten that up. Perfect. Just using again that base third of the brush where the bristles are at their thickest. So I'm going in with Pandora, which is glittery by day and glowing by night. And I'm going to place it in the bottom section, but not right at the very tip. I'm going to blend it back really gently. And then I'm going to walk the product down the nail. Now this is incredibly pigmented. It actually stuck to my brush a little bit, and then I touched the side of the hand and I got it on the hand and I was like, oh my God, but it's okay. I'm then going to walk this product down the nail. I mean, you could technically ombre just like this. Or the reverse way with the nude over the blue. I'm just going to add some more. Build up the pigment, brush that all the way back up. I'm working quite wet because I want the pigment to shift nicely. And then I'll remove any excess from the tip, otherwise obviously it would stay like this and it would look quite fanned out. We don't want that, so we'll get rid of that. Clean off my brush, keep your brush nice and clean. I'm just going to swipe away that little excess there because it's just gone a little bit too high up for my liking. And then I'm going to dip my brush straight into the glitter with no acrylic on it, and I'm going to tap it into the wet acrylic here. So you can see this is a different consistency of glitter, and we're working with raw glitter over the top of coloured acrylic. So you've done pure glitter, then you've done a pre-mixed glitter acrylic, now we're doing a colour acrylic backdrop with small amounts of glitter on top. The good part about this is you've got that pigment behind the glitter, as you can see, and then it shifts as the glitter goes up towards the cuticle. I've got a small amount with some acrylic here just so I can feather it down and then blend it back up and feather it and spread it out a little bit more. It keeps it nice and thin, but it's got that depth of colour towards the tip of the nail without having to have a huge amount of acrylic. And I will just continue, sorry that was my phone, I would just continue with the same until I'm happy with the way it's transitioned and sort of blended. I'm just using the tip of my brush to just move it around while it's still wet and malleable. Okay, give that a minute and it's all in place. We're going to cap it. Remember the rules, if it ain't matte, it ain't capped. Oh, a little bit of purple glitter escaped me there, so I shall have to scoop that out. There it is, little bugger. Get out of it. Clean my brush and go back in. So you can see the mattifying like literally taking place there as it covers. Really important. Otherwise you could end up with a bit of a pickle. Bit of a pickle, darling. Don't want that, do we? Don't want that. There we are. And I'm just going to keep checking the nail from all angles to make sure it's nice and neat and tidy, nice and even. There was a dent in the middle, so I'll apply the bead where the dip is. Get my words out, and then I'll blend the top and the bottom, and then that will just completely even out the shape. There we are. I'll double check again. I'll go over any little bits that I might not be happy with. And then it will be time to get these nails filed. So what I'll do is in a second I'll show you some of the filing, but not all of it, because you would get very bored. And we don't want that. I'm just checking the side profile and there was a slight dip there, so I'm just adding a little bit more. Again, placing the product in the middle of the dip and then blending the top of the bead and then the bottom of the bead and making sure it all ties in nicely. Okay, quick look at the filing routine. And basically I'm doing under the nail on the side wall. Okay, I have to be careful that they don't sort of fall out. And then I'm supporting the nail while I do the side because it is a long nail. Flat file, so underneath and then side. So underneath on this side as well. It looks like a slightly different angle. I guess it's the way the camera is as well. But as you can see, I do come in and go like dead against, flat against that side like that. See? And also you can do it this way. Underneath and then flat. Then the free edge. I always do the same routine. Sidewall, free edge. And once I'm happy with that, I'll just keep repeating it until I'm happy. Check every minute. I'm like constantly looking at it like, oh, that little bit there, oh, that little bit there. Then I'm going to do around the cuticle. Obviously this customer doesn't have cuticles, but we're going to pretend she does, and file that area. I'm pulling back the skin as much as I can with my thumb that's holding the finger. It's good on these hands because you can do that and they bounce back, because you don't want to damage the hand either. They're very expensive. And then I often do this with my file. I put it flat along the nail, and that gives you a good indication of where there's any raised areas that you might want to file down a little bit more. So I'm just going to do that. And I'm going to make sure that the whole surface of the nail is nice and even. So if there are any areas where I can see that there's some lumps and bumps and uneven areas, I'm going to keep filing that until the nail is smooth and even. I'm then going to do the same on the other two nails and then wipe over with isopropyl alcohol. Give it a good old clean, get rid of the dust. It's fine to use it on this hand, it's absolutely fine. And then we're going to go in with top coat. And the top coat I'm using is from Madame Glam. It is No Wipe Gloss Top Coat. Look at that. Oh, mama. Absolutely beautiful. Now I have a discount code for Madame Glam as well. It is Sarah B30. So you can save yourself 30% on their website. I will make sure I add that in the description box. Everything will be in the description box. And if you found this video helpful, then please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, letting me know which bit you found most helpful. And if there's anything else that you think I could include in future videos that you'd like to learn a bit more about in a bit more depth, then let me know in the description box and I'll add it to my list. I've got a couple more sort of on the back burner that I want to do. But do let me know of anything else you would like this kind of tutorial in. So more in depth, less kind of rushing a full set of nails and more in-depth tutorials. Or if you'd like me to do the same tutorial with, say, hard gel, for example, or anything like that, just let me know. And as you can see, all three ombres, you wouldn't know that a different technique was used, but some people prefer raw glitter. Some people prefer glitter acrylic. Other people prefer colour background with just some glitter on top. So there are different ways to achieve the same style of look. But we know, don't we, that it's all slightly different. Anyway, I've stuck in some footage at the end of just a few angles of the nails, which I think look really lovely. And yeah, I just want to say thanks if you've made it this far. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Let's pop those in the lamp then and have a good look. Oh, look at that. Sparkly. Yes, that's all I'm going to say. I'm very happy. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will see you in my next one. Don't forget to comment.